All right, here I am at the Magnolia Street Railroad crossing in Spartanburg, South Carolina. So yes, guys, first of all, you heard that right. I am in South Carolina today, and this kind of continues the trend of me touring railroad crossings out of state, and this one is no exception. And this crossing right here is a rather iconic one per se, owned by the Norfolk Southern Charlotte District. It's not Charlotte, that's how you pronounce it in Michigan apparently, but a Charlotte District. And I figured to tour this today since I have just finally landed here after a 12-hour drive, and decided Railfanner here with a special guest for today. If you guys know who that is Atlantic Coast Railfanner, and this is the crossing in his intro. So for those obvious reasons, I decided to tour it today, and figured to do so anyway because this features some rather neat equipment and some pretty classic elements as well. So I guess with that said, I'll explain as I go on, so let's get to it. So for the first signal, this has a transport products base, and here's the emergency information, and the dot number and the dot tag is 716640F. And for the gate mechanism on this one, this has a Safetran gate mechanism, 1980s generation.
Which is missing the lock.
Yep, which is missing the lock. As you can see, it's only held on by a bolt, no nut. And the gate features some Rico LED gate lights and a wind guard on the mast.
And the gate is a National Electric Gate Company, a 45-footer.
Yep. Yeah, and it seems to be newer. It's like a newer gate, isn't it? Because it looks pretty.
It's been here for a while.
Oh, it just looks fresh to me. But yeah. And for the lights on this one, this features 2 pairs of Safetran 12x24-inch incandescent lights and 1 pair of Hawker and Safetran 12x24-inch incandescent lights. These are facing towards the Spartanburg station, as you can see, as well as the Southern Caboose, which is a little model shop, which is pretty neat. And these are all sitting on Safetran light brackets, and this is sitting on an old Transport Products light extender arm, which is pretty neat to see. And to compensate for that, they also put the 2-track sign down there.
Now, another thing to note is that you notice how the light is bent right there? They bent it on purpose so it could face the station so the kids could see it when the Hub City group is still around.
Yep,
and they haven't fixed it since. I mean, they fixed it once, but then they turned it back over.
So yeah, they're like, don't mess with my light. And this signal has no bell on it, so...
And it has like 4 freaking thick counterweights on it.
Yep, that's how they usually do it with Safetran, I guess, per se. So yeah, that was the first signal.
A little tidbit.
And
this used to have 8-inch lights back in the 80s.
Yep.
There's some videos you can see of the 90s where it still had the 8-inch lights.
Yep.
The lights were all in the same pattern.
Okay.
And this crossing used to have a mechanical bell on the top of it.
All right,
but the mast and the mast is the same. The gate mech, I don't think the gate mech's the same.
Maybe they had a Transport Products gate mech in the past before they installed that one in the 80s.
No clue.
And obviously they put a flat cap on there to compensate for the, missing bell. So yeah, I guess with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next signal, in which, let's wait for these cars to pass. All right, so here's the second signal, as you can see, which is somewhat similar to the first, but there are some differences. So for this one, this has a Cerami base, and here's the emergency information once again. And if you look over here, there is an old Southern Railway dot tag. Yep, and if you look over here, there used to be another Norfolk Southern dot tag, and they also put the sticker emergency information over it, but they since painted over it and replaced it with the dot tag that's here now. But yeah, and for the gate mechanism, this has another Safetran gate mechanism, 1980s generation, and the gate features some more Rico LED gate lights, no wind guard on this mast.
Actually, the gate light right there on the bottom is an incandescent one.
But yeah, this is one of these ones that feature a mix of Rico incandescent and LED gate lights. So yeah. And for the lights on this one, this has 2 more pairs of Safetran 12x24-inch incandescent lights, all sitting on a Safetran light bracket. And for the bell on this one, this has a General Signals Type 2 electronic bell set on medium to high volume. Although in the past, according to Kaleb, this bell used to be on like a lower volume, but turns out they probably tweaked with it and made it louder.
And this signal used to be more back over here when they still had 4 tracks. But after they took out the 4 tracks, they moved it here.
Yeah, and you can kind of see where they used to lay.
That had no bell.
Yeah, and the signal had no bell, but yeah, this one had a mechanical bell of some sort in the past. If I had to take a hot guess, it probably was a Safetran or Rayco mechanical bell.
And you can see pictures of like the station here from the 30s, and where it had multiple tracks. And the crossing, all it just had was those big wishbone gates.
Oh, yep.
And there was a signal tower right about, I'd say about right here. There was a signal tower where the operator would operate the gates.
Huh. That's pretty neat, actually, where it was
And I think-
manual
and I think
operated.
in the 50s, when that tower was still, before it was demolished, someone claimed they had a traffic light on it.
Huh,
So-
and that is quite interesting. So yeah, that is pretty much all the equipment to show here for Magnolia Street. Here's the relay case, which is actually a combined relay case of the crossing and for the Magnolia control point right here. So yeah, I guess with all that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the track view. Down there is heading south towards a couple of automatic block signals towards a
Going
yard.
down that way leads you to Hain Yard.
Hain
and then eventually
Yard.
goes to Greer, Grainville, and then go into the Georgia border to Atlanta.
Yep, pretty much this line goes far, point being.
And
But yeah,
over that way leads you to CP Beaumont. You can see the signals down there for Beaumont.
Yep.
And if you were to keep going that way, you'll wind up at the North Carolina border and eventually to Charlotte, and then it leads all the way to Linwood.
all right, yep. So that is the north-facing direction, and obviously you have the two dispatch and control signals for control point Magnolia.
Yeah, these are the
And-
Darth Vader signals that have been put up in 2012.
Yep. So yeah, that is pretty much it. So with all that said, this was the Magnolia Street Railroad crossing in Spartanburg, South Carolina, featuring Pyrotech 4051 or Atlantic Coast Railfanner or Kaleb, whatever you want to call him. It's been a while since I did a collaboration crossing tour video, but this pretty much, is the return of that, as well as continuing the trend of doing crossing tour videos far out of Michigan. So I guess with all that said, over and out.